Well, I've been riding for over 15 years, and I've seen trends come and go. Some improve the experience, but others are just plain stupid. Not just annoying, but sometimes lethal, often expensive, and completely missing the point of what makes motorcycling so incredible. Today, we're counting down 15 biker trends that need to die, ranging from pointless aesthetic upgrades to flat-out dangerous behaviors that give all riders a bad name. Some might hit close to home, and if they do, don't get defensive. We've all fallen for at least one of these at some point. Let's start with the stuff that's ruining perfectly good bikes. Number 1. First up, those little MotoGP-style aerodynamic wings popping up on street bikes everywhere. I get it. You watch professional racers on the weekend and think you need those winglets on your Ninja 650. Here's the reality check. Those wings are engineered for 200-plus mile-per-hour corner exits on perfectly smooth racetracks. On your daily commute, they're about as useful as swimming flippers in the desert. At street-legal speeds, those fancy winglets generate approximately zero meaningful downforce. What they do generate is extra weight, wind resistance, and something else to break when you drop your bike in the parking lot. The worst part is that they actually make your bike harder to handle in crosswinds. I watched a guy with winglets nearly get blown into another lane on the highway last month because his bike caught a gust like a sail. If you want better handling, invest in suspension setup and tire technology. You know, things that actually matter at the speeds we legally ride. Save the wings for your video games. Number 2. Loud pipes save lives. The battle cry of every rider who wants to justify setting off car alarms 3 blocks away. Let's be clear. There's zero scientific evidence that ear-splitting exhaust make you more visible to drivers. Zero. What physics actually tells us is that exhaust noise projects primarily backward into the sides, not forward where that driver's about to pull out in front of you. By the time they hear you, you're already in their mirror. Too late. What loud pipes definitely do is damage your hearing, annoy everyone in a 5-mile radius, and make non-riders hate motorcyclists. They've also led to more and more riding areas being closed to motorcycles and stricter noise enforcement everywhere. You know what actually saves lives? Bright clothing, proper lane positioning, and defensive riding technique. If safety is really your concern, take that $800 you were going to spend on that slip-on and invest it in an advanced riding course instead. I'm not saying your bike needs to sound like a sewing machine. Just don't pretend your straight pipes are a safety feature when they're really just an attention-seeking device. Number 3. I'll never understand why some riders think the stock turn signals on motorcycles are some ugly growth that needs to be removed. Those little blinking lights are literally how you communicate with other drivers. Yet, custom builders and wannabe social media stars keep finding ways to clean up the tail by hiding signals in the tail light, tucking them under the seat, or just removing them entirely. Here's a simple concept. Other drivers need to see your intentions clearly from multiple angles in all lighting conditions. Those big, ugly stock signals actually serve a purpose. I had a buddy who installed those micro LED signals that basically disappear in daylight. 2 weeks later, he got rear-ended when a driver didn't see him signaling for a turn. His bike totaled, and he spent 3 months recovering from a broken collarbone. If you have to customize, at least make sure your signals are visible from more than 6 inches away. Yeah, your bike might look cleaner with hidden signals, but your medical bills will look a whole lot worse. Number 4. Nothing says I completely missed the point of a touring motorcycle quite like taking a bike designed for a comfortable long-distance travel ride and lowering it until it scrapes on a piece of gum. These slam baggers are everywhere now. Big touring bikes with thousands in suspension modifications to make them sit 2 inches off the ground. Yeah, they look cool parked at bike night, I'll give you that. But the moment you hit the road, it's a nightmare. No suspension travel means every bump goes straight to your spine. The bike drags on even the gentlest corners. Your tires wear unevenly. And your passengers? they'll never ride with you again after their tailbone takes that direct hit from a pothole. Have you ever ridden a bike that was slammed too low? Drop a comment below with your most painful pothole experience. I've seen guys spend 15 grand on a touring bike specifically engineered for comfort and handling, then immediately drop another 5 to eliminate both those features. It's like buying a Ferrari and replacing the engine with a lawnmower because it's more chill. If you want a low bike, start with something designed to be low. Don't ruin a perfectly good bagger just to scrape your way through every parking lot in town. Number 5. Remember when people thought more chrome equaled more class? Some riders still haven't got the memo that we've moved past 1997. Chrome everywhere. Brake levers, master cylinders, engine covers, fork tubes, triple trees, chain guards, and even frame parts that were never meant to be chromed. It's like a mirror factory exploded on your bike. Beyond the questionable looks, all that chrome creates real problems. It reflects sunlight directly into your eyes while riding. It shows every fingerprint and water spot, and most importantly, it makes regular maintenance a nightmare. I watched a buddy spend 45 minutes trying to remove a chrome bolt without scratching the surrounding chrome parts. Meanwhile, I'd already finished my entire oil change. Chrome also doesn't get rid of heat as effectively as other finishes, which is problematic on engine components. And cheap chrome? It starts flaking off after one winter, making your bike look worse than if you'd left it stock. A little strategic chrome as an accent is fine, but when your bike looks like it could guide planes in for landing from the reflection alone, you've gone a little bit too far. Number 6. Moving on to number 6, strapping what looks like a tractor tire to your rear wheel just because it looks tough. These massively oversized rear tires, I'm talking 240mm, 260mm, and sometimes even 300mm wide on bikes, never designed for them, have become some weird status symbol. Here's what actually happens when you put a car-sized tire on your motorcycle. Your handling goes to hell. Period. The bike becomes harder to initiate into turns. It resists leaning, and it tracks poorly through corners. You also mess up your final drive ratio, which hurts acceleration and fuel economy. And in many places, these modifications are actually illegal because they alter the safety characteristics of the bike. I had a chance to ride a friend's custom with a 280mm rear tire last summer. It felt like steering a boat through mud. When I asked him why he chose it, he just said, "It looks badass." That was it. No performance reason whatsoever. If you're building a pure show bike that never leaves the convention center floor, fine. But if you actually plan to ride the thing, stick with the tire sizes your bike was engineered to use. Number 7. All right, I'll admit it. I had Underglow on my sport bike back in 2005 after watching too many racing movies. Well, we all make mistakes in our youth. These multicolored LED strips that turn your bike into a rolling disco ball might seem cool at 2 a.m. in an empty parking lot, but in reality, they're just a massive distraction to everyone around you. Beyond the obvious attention-seeking aspect, Underglow creates several practical problems. They drain your battery, sometimes enough to leave you stranded, and they're illegal in most states when used on public roads. And they're just one more thing to break or damage. The worst offenders are the RGB flashing kits that cycle through colors like a party. Those aren't just annoying, they're actively dangerous, as they can confuse other drivers about what they're seeing. I'm not saying customization is bad, but maybe ask yourself if your motorcycle really needs to look like it's ready for a music festival before you wire up 200 LEDs to your frame. Number 8. Number 8 is mounting racing steering dampers on perfectly balanced street bikes that don't need them. Steering stabilizers have a legitimate purpose on race bikes and certain designs prone to headshake, but slapping a $500 Öhlins damper on your already stable street bike is just expensive jewelry. On most modern motorcycles, the factory has already spent millions developing chassis geometry that's stable without additional damping. Adding one anyway just makes your steering heavier and less responsive, exactly what you don't want for street riding. What's the most expensive mod you've ever added to your bike that made absolutely no difference in performance? Let me know in the comments. I see these all the time on forums. My bike handles fine, but I want to add a steering damper. Which one should I get? The correct answer? None of them. Save your money. If your bike actually has a stability issue, there's likely something else wrong. Tire pressure, wheel balance, alignment, or suspension setup. Fix the root cause instead of bandaging the symptom with expensive hardware. Number 9. Now we're truly getting into the dangerous stuff, starting with people who treat public streets like their personal stunt show. Wheelies through traffic, stoppies at red lights, drifting through intersections. Yeah, we've all seen these videos, usually shot by a buddy following on another bike, equally oblivious to the danger they're creating. Now, here's the hard truth. These stunts put everyone at risk, not just the rider. Pedestrians, other drivers, even property along the roadside becomes collateral damage when these stunts go wrong. And they frequently do. Beyond the immediate danger, these behaviors are what prompt lawmakers to target motorcyclists with stricter regulations and enforcement. Every time some squid loops a wheelie into a minivan, the rest of us responsible riders pay the price. If you want to stunt, there are designated areas for that, you know. Closed courses, track days with stunt sections, private property, places where the only person you can hurt is you. Public roads are shared spaces, not your personal video set. Keep the circus act where it belongs. Number 10. Similar to stunning, but even more dangerous, is street racing. Whether it's impromptu stoplight drags or organized midnight runs, racing on public roads is never justified. Street racing kills. That's not an exaggeration. Every year, dozens of riders die trying to prove they're faster than their buddy or some random car that revved at them. The variables on public streets are infinite and uncontrollable. Unexpected traffic, pedestrians, road conditions, animals crossing. None of these factors exist in a controlled racing environment. And even if you somehow don't crash, the legal consequences can destroy your life just as effectively. Impounded bikes, license suspension, felony charges. I've seen riders lose everything because they couldn't save their speed for the track. Speaking of tracks, track days exist. They're more affordable than ever, safer than ever, and the only place where you can actually develop real skill without endangering others. I used to think I was fast on the street until my first track day. Turns out I wasn't even using half of my bike's capabilities, and I was still taking unnecessary risks. The track taught me more in one day than years of street riding. Be smart, race at the track, and ride on the street. Number 11. Yes, this is actually a thing that happens enough to make this list. Riding without clothes, whether for freedom, dares, or social media attention. Beyond the obvious legal issues, riding nude is possibly the dumbest thing you can do on a motorcycle. Your skin is your only protection when things go wrong, and things always eventually go wrong. Even at 30 miles per hour, asphalt will remove your skin to the bone in seconds. I've seen the aftermath of crashes where fully geared riders still suffered serious road rash. Imagine that with no protection whatsoever. And it's not just crashes you need to worry about. Bugs hitting bare skin at highway speeds feel like being shot with BBs. Rocks and road debris become painful projectiles. Even the sun will cook you like a rotisserie chicken after an hour. What's the least amount of gear you've ever seen someone riding in? Tell me your most shocking story in the comments. There's nothing free about spending 6 weeks in a hospital burn unit having gravel picked out of your wounds. Wear gear, all of it, every time. Number 12. Those massive unorganized group rides that take over highways, block traffic, and generally behave like laws don't apply to them. Whether you call them ride-outs, takeovers, or Matt Rimpet runs, a term from Malaysia, these rolling chaos parades have the same characteristics everywhere. Dozens or even hundreds of bikes, no real leadership, dangerous stunning, and a complete disregard for traffic laws. What starts as a social ride inevitably devolves into mob mentality. When someone crashes, the group abandons them. When police show up, they scatter in all directions, creating even more danger. Now, I'm not against group rides. Organized runs with clear leaders, safety briefings, and route planning can be some of the best riding experiences out there. But there's a massive difference between that and these anarchic highway takeovers. If you want the social aspect of riding, join an established club with proper ride protocols, or organize smaller rides with friends you trust. The strength in numbers approach only works when those numbers know what they're doing. Number 13. This one seems obvious, but the number of people riding without proper endorsements is staggering. Some estimates suggest up to 25% of riders on the road don't have valid motorcycle licenses. The license isn't just some paperwork designed to collect fees. It's proof you've demonstrated the minimum skills needed to operate a motorcycle safely. Skipping this step means you're missing fundamental knowledge and skills. It's like performing surgery after watching a few online tutorials, technically possible, but with potentially devastating results. I've heard every excuse. Course was full. It's too expensive. I've been riding dirt bikes for years. None of these justify putting yourself and others at risk on public roads. Beyond the safety issues, riding unlicensed is a legal nightmare waiting to happen. If you crash, your insurance can deny your claim. And if you hurt someone, you're facing serious liability. Just get the license. The courses are actually fun. You'll learn things you didn't know, and you'll be legal. It's literally the lowest bar for entry into responsible riding. Number 14. Now I know this one might be controversial, but excessive speed is the leading factor in fatal motorcycle crashes, and we need to talk about it. There's a difference between occasionally going a few miles over the speed limit and regularly treating speed limits as suggestions. The former is human nature. The latter gets riders killed. Modern sport bikes can hit 100 miles per hour in seconds, but our roads, our visibility, and our reaction times haven't evolved to match that capability. The margin for error at high speeds is virtually non-existent. I'm not preaching here. I've been that guy, twisting the throttle way too hard on empty highways. But I've also lost friends who couldn't react in time to an unexpected obstacle, or who simply ran out of skill at speeds their confidence convinced them they could handle. If you need to experience real speed, again, that's what track days are for. On public roads, a good rule is to ride at a pace where you can stop within your line of sight. I know it's kept me alive for 15 years of riding. At number 15, the final item on our list is a dangerous myth that refuses to die. The idea that laying the bike down is a legitimate emergency technique. You probably heard someone tell the story, had to lay her down to avoid hitting that car. What they're really saying is, I panicked and crashed instead of using my brakes properly. Modern motorcycles can stop incredibly quickly when maximum braking is applied correctly. The physics are simple. Rubber tires on pavement create more friction than metal and plastic sliding across pavement. By intentionally crashing, you give up any remaining control of your direction, create a debris field that endangers others, and guarantee injury and damage instead of possibly avoiding it. In literally thousands of accident scenarios studied, there's never been a case where deliberately crashing the motorcycle led to a better outcome than proper braking and steering would have. Train for emergency braking instead, and practice it regularly. It's the skill that will actually save your life one day. And there you have it. 15 biker trends that need to die before they take any more of us with them. Some are harmless but annoying, and others are outright dangerous. The bottom line is this. Motorcycling is about freedom, but it's also about responsibility to yourself, to your fellow riders, and to everyone else on the road. If you're guilty of any of these, don't take it personally. Learn, adapt, and be better. That's what the community is supposed to be about. What dangerous or stupid trend did I miss? I know there are plenty more out there, so drop your nominations in the comments below, and maybe we'll do a part 2.